warmly welcome the President, Mr. Jürgen Binder. Yeah, please, you're welcome.
Thank you so much. Yesterday I learned my Chinese name is werden. So, dear colleagues, Mr. Chair, esteemed beekeepers, honorable presidents, excellencies, experts from the world of beekeeping. It's a great honor for me to be here with you today and to address you. My name is Jürgen Binder. I'm a professional beekeeper and teacher of beekeeping in Germany. I have run a commercial beekeeping business in Germany and Italy for 25 years and have also produced honey in France and Switzerland. Having traveled to European countries, Africa and South America on over 40 occasions, I can say I know the beekeepers and beekeeping practices in Europe and elsewhere. And I met wonderful colleagues, and I know that beekeepers are the same all over the world. We love the bees. We go on with it. Yes, thank you. We love the bees, we love working with the bees. We love the freedom of traveling with our bees, hoping for good weather, and we suffer with our bees when they are ill or face other problems. That is why I know you too. The Chinese beekeepers are our friends, because you too love the bees and want only the best for your bees. You are magnificent guardians and preservers of biodiversity. You live and work in the world's most important honey-producing country, a magnificent land with a long history and great tradition, pride and fantastic beekeeping skills. Where to put it? See, here is China on top. Where can the world buy royal jelly in large quantities? In China. Where can the world buy propolis in large quantities? In China. Where can the world buy bee venom in large quantities? In China. China has become the world's most important and leading partner for all matters related to beekeeping and food safety. After all, who is the Director General of the FAO? A Chinese national, His Excellency Hu Dongyu, do I spell it right? Du Kyonghu, whom I had the pleasure of meeting at World Bee Day 2024 in Rome, at the FAO. And he pays particular attention to bees. That is how I found him. And by the way, he's probably delighted that he can eat particularly good Roman pizza and spaghetti in his office in Rome, and this is perhaps the only thing that isn't available in China. The Chinese leadership and you, dear colleagues, have understood that bees are key to global food security. I congratulate you for this. Although all these achievements are evident, and I shall indeed have the honor of meeting several beekeepers and businesses during the conference, there is great uncertainty and some resentment within the industry as soon as the word China is mentioned. I particularly remember when at the Apollonia General Assembly in Istanbul and Montreal, Two Chinese colleagues stood for two different positions on the Apammonia executive board, and neither was elected. Both introduced themselves. Naturally, we did not know them. This is a major problem at the International General Assembly. It does not allow sufficient space or time to get to know the candidates properly. But the message was clear. We harbor a distrust of candidates from China. And yet, at the same time, China is the only Apammonia member country that provides its own service to simplify the logistics and organization of participation in the World Congress for activities. Where does this distrust come from? And where does this discrepancy lie between China's unparalleled expertise and the international suspicion towards this wonderful country? It is the fact that the global honey market has gone haywire. It is Chinese producers of sugar syrups made from rice, maize and other starchy plants which are processed and marketed by some companies in such a way that they cannot be distinguished from honey. Indeed, they are even advertised as such. Here we see a screenshot from Alibaba, and we find many such advertisements. Of course, anyone is free to produce sugar syrup, and the whole world buys and uses it for ice cream, cakes, pastries, sweets, drinks, and anything that is meant to taste sweet. There is nothing wrong with it. But we find these suggestions that the syrup is suitable for mixing with honey, and that using currently known methods, it cannot be proven that the honey has been adulterated with sugar syrup. We find it here. Fructose syrup for honey, food grade as an spirit. In such advertisements, therefore, the buyer is invited to commit fraud. I call it aiding and abetting fraud. And this aiding and abetting is unfortunately being carried out by some Chinese operators. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed presidents and official representatives of the Chinese government, put a stop to this aiding and abetting of fraud. The problem does not end here. For every seller, there is also a buyer. Many honey traders in Germany, in the EU, and worldwide make use of this service, purchasing these sugar syrups in your country from Chinese companies, and then diluting and adulterating the honey of beekeepers across the globe in order to bring cheap honey to the market. At prices at which honey simply cannot be produced. Chinese sugar syrup costs around $1 per kilo. German honey has production costs of around €10 per kilo. You can see how high the profit margin is when sugar syrup is sold as fake honey by German companies. A great deal of money can be made this way, and several hundred or thousand traders around the world are indeed making a great deal of money from it. Who is suffering? We as a beekeeper. But these traders are undermining our consumers' understanding of the true price of honey. And I heard this morning it is also here in China. And with the green propolis it's the same. And they are ruining beekeepers and beekeeping businesses, from whom they no longer buy honey or offer prices at which they cannot continue to operate. They are also damaging China's reputation. German traders are currently paying between $0.8 and $4.30 per kilogram. $0.8 to $4.30 per kilogram for German honey, with a production cost of 10 euros. Most traders aren't buying any honey at all, because, as they say, the warehouses are full. What have they bought? Chinese honey, and take note, Ukrainian honey, too. But why are Ukrainian beekeeping business complaining that they cannot sell their honey? Why is Ukraine able to produce so much honey at all when they have been at war with Russia for over 3 years? Dear fellow beekeepers and presidents, I am now getting to know the situation of your beekeeping businesses here and the entire sector, but let me tell you, I have been to the Apimonia conferences in Montreal, Istanbul, Santiago de Chile, and Copenhagen. The beekeeping industry worldwide is on the brink of collapse because traders are no longer buying up the valuable honey produced by beekeepers for the price we need, or are only paying ruinous prices. We are facing a global crisis, and if we do not overcome it quickly, tens of thousands of professional beekeeping operations worldwide will have to close. This will jeopardize pollination security and consequently food security, which could lead to a major international threat and crisis. Wild bees and other pollinating insects cannot provide sufficient pollination without a large number of bee colonies. If we do not immediately put a stop to this ruinous price war and the disastrously low prices for honey internationally, also for Chinese honey, we face the threat of highly volatile conditions. And we already have enough crises in the world. We do not need a food crisis on top of that. This has become a major international problem. And unfortunately, the syrup producers whose products can be used for adulteration come also from your very proud and great country. Mixing sugar syrup with honey, when the blended product is sold as honey, is a fraud and a crime against us beekeepers. Dear colleagues, please help to ensure that this fraud is stopped. Go to your president, the Minister of Agriculture and the relevant authorities and ensure that the support for this fraud is stopped. The whole world will thank you. The whole world will praise the power and strength of the Chinese leadership if you succeed in putting an end to this fraud. Now, alongside this international problem, I'll show you the next slide. There is no slide. Okay, and no slide. Alongside this international problem, there are, of course, also homegrown problems within beekeeping. Beekeepers take pride in their craft. They have learned their craft from the fathers, and they honor and protect the knowledge they have acquired, which comes from their family and remains in the family. But many, and this is the case in Europe, practice beekeeping out of love without any professional standards regarding the quality of the work. But as we all know, love is blind. Let me tell you, I have been a beekeeper instructor for about 14 years. I have seen thousands of bee colonies and spoken to thousands of beekeepers. Before a beekeeper is ready to learn something new, many bee colonies must have died, costing a great deal of money. And the realization must dawn that it would be better to listen to experienced beekeepers and learn from them. August Freiherr von Berlepsch, a beekeeping instructor from the 19th century Germany, coined the phrase, above all, learn the theory, otherwise you will remain practical amateurs for the rest of your lives. This wisdom still holds true today. Our beekeeping school has now trained thousands of beekeepers, and many are now harvesting 3 times the amount of honey that they did before. It would not be necessary to import honey to Europe. We could produce it ourselves. But the beekeepers do not want to learn how to do it. This is your profit. You can export to Europe. And this is achieved through simple measures. You just have to do it. Pesticides levels are too high. An Italian study last year demonstrated that pesticide levels are at the highest in July and August. Yet these are the 2 months when bees in Europe are put into hibernation. And as beekeepers, we know this. If there are too many pesticides residues in the pollen and the bees have to eat it because no fresh pollen is available, then our bees are weakened and may not survive the winter for the reason too, and not just because the varroa treatment was not carried out properly and effectively. I do not know whether you, dear colleagues, can learn anything from us in Europe, but I am certain that I can learn a great deal from you. I am very much looking forward for the days following the conference, when I will have the opportunity to get to know you even better. I am convinced that the world will admire China even more once it has a better understanding of your magnificent cultural and artisanal achievements. And I am proud that I can make a small contribution to facilitating this exchange. Dear fellow beekeepers, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to summarize. Help stop honey fraud. We need fair prices for beekeepers worldwide. Otherwise, they will have to close down. Second, show the world your great beekeeping expertise. If you come to the Imkerbund World Congress, you have an excellent opportunity to showcase your country. So far, however, I have mainly seen dealers in varroa sites and, yes, even sugar syrups. Even at the World Congress in Copenhagen, there was a Chinese dealer offering such sugar syrups. He was thrown out of the exhibition. Did you know this? Unfortunately, this casts a poor light on your great and proud country. Third, produce mature honey that is dried naturally by the bees themselves. Technical drying is not considered acceptable internationally, and it is also unsuitable for producing high quality honey. And fourth and last, cooperate with Europe not only on a commercial level, but also on a cultural level. This is the way understanding for your magnificent work will grow, and we will become friends and remain friends forever. Thank you.
那我们再次感谢Binder 主席的演讲。那么我们下面有请中国风干美协会会长杨会长为Binder 主席颁发本次交流会证书。大家鼓掌会。